Well, it is truly a great day in South Carolina today. We are so proud to live in a state that in our minds has quickly become the envy of the nation, a state that's literally on the move. Anyone who thinks American manufacturing is dead needs to come to South Carolina. Our state and its people are leveraging our great natural resources, a talented workforce, and a really, really strong governor is leading the way. Her name is Nikki Haley. We are so proud as Republicans to live in a state that's governed by Governor Haley. I'm here today to offer my full-throated support for Governor Haley in 2014, and this party will do everything in its power to be sure she's reelected next fall. But more than that, we are today launching an important tool for South Carolina citizens. We are launching today VinceShaheen.com to give South Carolinians the true story of Vince Shaheen and his ideas, his plans and policies for South Carolina if he were to become governor. If he were to become governor, I think we can confidently say that if you like the sort of liberal policies and ideas coming out of Washington, that you would like Vince Shaheen as governor. Among them, his full-throated support for Obamacare, his full-throated support for the budget-busting Medicaid expansion, and the sort of democratic cronyism that we've seen all too often out of Washington lately, rewarding friends with insider deals, with rewarding his trial lawyer friends. So today we're proud to launch VinceShaheen.com to say that South Carolinians are unconvinced that Vince Shaheen has any business becoming governor. So I kind of want to read you a few comments and quotes from people we've been talking to about the sort of policies and ideas that Vince Shaheen would promote as governor. I mentioned that full-throated support of Obamacare and how terrible it would be for South Carolina. We've been talking to small business owners. One of them owns a local business here in the Columbia area, East Glass, that has been a long-standing, for decades, great source of jobs and products for the local community. The owner says, and I quote here, "We can't budget for the future if I really don't know what our health care costs are going to be." And the loss of loyal employees, he mentioned that as well. These are the sorts of things that we're going to go out and tell South Carolinians in the next 15 months or so. We would invite them to check out VinceShaheen.com to learn more about Vince Shaheen's plans for South Carolina. They're not conservative, and they're not the kinds of plans that South Carolinians want for their state. I mentioned other stories. The comptroller of that same company, actually of a local company, Lizard's Thicket, says on his stunted expansion plans for growth, "We've heard all kind of numbers," he says, Clayton Tapp. "We just don't have a feel for it. Honestly, it makes you take pause in your business plan. Take pause in your business plan." We cannot have politicians in South Carolina stunting the growth of our small businesses, and that's what Vincent Shaheen would do as governor. We're talking about potentially fewer full-time employees hired. We're talking about businesses hiring two employees at 20 hours a week instead of one employee at 40 hours a week. And it's hard to get a stable workforce. Jeff Wilkinson, in an article in the State recently wrote of an owner, quote, "Instead of 2 dishwashers at 40 hours a week, I have to hire 4 dishwashers at 20 hours a week." Quote, "But it's hard to find dependable people who are willing to work 20 hours a week on nights and weekend." And that's about the chilling effect of Obamacare and its regulations. In the health insurance market, we've heard a lot about the state exchanges and those sorts of things. We now know that here in South Carolina, according to the Department of Insurance, health premiums will increase up to 20%. Now, families across the state in the Obama economy have already had their paychecks shrunken, more taxes, more regulations, and now we're talking about a 20% increase in health premiums due to the president's signature accomplishment in office. These are the kinds of ideas that Vincent Shaheen wants to bring to South Carolina as governor. We're talking about things like tort reform. Under Governor Haley's leadership, South Carolina is now a much better place to do business. Businesses are growing, expanding. I mentioned almost 40,000 new jobs since she took office. Job announcements in 45 of 46 counties. An amazing record on jobs, but Vincent Shaheen and his fellow trial lawyers have consistently stood against tort reform. And we need tort reform to give businesses the kind of stability they need to operate. Talking about things like property taxes. Vincent Shaheen in his book apparently could not find a property tax he didn't like. We're talking about him raising sales taxes by $600 million. Raising income taxes. We're talking about an internet sales tax. We're talking about imposing more taxes on fuels. We're talking about all sorts of new fees, truck registration fees, automotive registration fees, driver's license fees, all in the name of creating a government that looks more like the government we have now coming out of Washington than what conservative South Carolinians want to see. And the point of this website is to, over the next 15 months or so, give South Carolinians the true record of Vincent Shaheen and his ideas for South Carolina and keep people informed. So with that, I'll take any of your questions.
Is this a battle that's going to be fought in social media and on the web, do you think? And how has that changed in recent years?
Well, first and foremost, Andy, this is a battle that's going to be fought in living rooms and in churches and in small businesses across the state. This is not about the web particularly. This is about giving South Carolinians the source of information they need to make good decisions. For us, it's a pocketbook decision. It's an easy decision.
How's it a pocketbook decision?
Well, we're talking about a candidate for governor for the Democrats who wants to impose tons of new taxes on South Carolina and harm taxpayers even more. We can't let that happen.
Is part of the pocketbook issue also that this is an efficient way to get your message out?
We use every avenue we can to spread the word, and with technology and Facebook and Twitter and those kinds of things, we're happy to use the web.
How long ago did you register Vincent Shaheen?
I'll get a process question. I honestly don't know. I think you can find that online actually if you wanted to dig into it. So, but with that, I think we're done. So thank you all for coming. We sure appreciate it. And VincShaheen.com. Thank y'all.
Thanks.